Captain, unidentified vessels just appeared on the scanners. The urgent voice of the sensor officer sliced through the tranquil hum of the starship's bridge. General Will Sterling, renowned for his tactical brilliance, felt a chill run down his spine as he watched the Xantari fleet materialize from nothingness. Sterling, a man of composed demeanor and sharp intellect, had led numerous successful missions for the United Earth Federation. His current mission was to secure a crucial sector, a task he approached with his usual calm and methodical strategy. The Xantari, however, had other plans. The United Earth Federation was embroiled in a brutal war with the Xantari, an alien race with technology that outclassed humanity's. Sterling's mission was critical, and he knew the stakes. As the Xantari ships emerged from their cloaking devices, the suddenness and ferocity of the attack left his fleet in disarray. Defensive maneuvers! All ships fall back and regroup! Sterling's voice remained steady, his commands precise. The bridge crew scrambled to comply, the ship shuddering under the impact of enemy fire. Sterling's mind raced, analyzing the situation and issuing orders to minimize losses and mount a counterattack. The Xantari attack was relentless. Sterling's flagship, the Resolute, was a primary target. Despite the chaos, Sterling's tactical prowess shone through. He directed the fleet's movements with surgical precision, buying precious time for his forces to regroup. But the Xantari's superior firepower and advanced technology were overwhelming. The ship's alarms blared, and the hull groaned under the strain of repeated hits. "Brace for impact!" Sterling shouted, gripping the edge of his command console as another explosion rocked the ship. The Xantari were closing in, and escape was becoming less likely by the second. "General Sterling, we have boarders!" a security officer reported. Sterling's jaw tightened. The Xantari were not just content with destruction, they aimed for capture. He drew his sidearm, ready to defend his ship and crew. King Zynak, the merciless Xantari leader, personally led the boarding party. Zynak, with his imposing stature and cold, calculating eyes, exuded an aura of dominance. His forces overwhelmed the Resolute's defenders, and Sterling found himself face to face with the alien king. "William Sterling." Zynak's voice was a low growl, filled with disdain. "Your resistance is futile." Sterling's gaze remained unwavering. "You underestimate humanity, Zynak." With a swift motion, Zynak disarmed Sterling, pressing the barrel of his own weapon against the human general's chest. "I will enjoy breaking you," he hissed. Zynak's forces broadcast the scene across both human and Xantari channels. Sterling, a symbol of human resilience, was paraded as a defeated leader. The humiliation was profound, intended to crush human morale and bolster Xantari dominance. Stripped of his rank and dignity, Sterling was thrown into a dim, cold prison cell. The metal walls closed in around him, but his spirit remained unbroken. He sat on the hard bench, his mind racing with thoughts of escape and revenge. Reflecting on his defeat, Sterling's resolve only grew stronger. He knew the Xantari's arrogance could be their undoing. He would find a way to turn the tables, not just for his own sake, but for the survival of humanity. As the cell door clanged shut, Sterling took a deep breath. His mind was already at work, analyzing every detail of his capture and planning his next move. The fire of determination burned brightly in his eyes. He would not let this defeat define him. Instead, it would be the catalyst for his greatest triumph. Sterling woke to the harsh clanging of metal and the guttural voices of Xantari guards. His cell was dark and cold, reeking of despair and confinement, but his mind was already racing with thoughts of escape. He had been in this prison for days, each moment sharpening his resolve. The conditions were brutal. The Xantari took no pity on their captives. Meals were meager, and the work was grueling. Yet, amidst this bleakness, Sterling found a glimmer of hope in the form of Liam Lee Kincaid, a young pilot with a rebellious spirit. Lee had been captured during a skirmish, and despite his circumstances, retained an optimistic outlook that contrasted starkly with Sterling's seasoned pragmatism. "You planning an escape, old man?" Lee asked one evening, a hint of a smile playing on his lips despite the exhaustion etched into his features. Sterling looked at him, recognizing the fire in the young man's eyes. "We won't be here forever," he replied, his voice steady. "We just need the right opportunity." Days turned into weeks, and the two men grew closer. Sterling found himself drawn to Lee's energy and defiance, qualities that rekindled his own determination. They exchanged stories and strategies, bonding over their shared goal of freedom. One day, while being forced to repair machinery, Sterling and Lee overheard two Xantari guards talking. They spoke in hushed tones, but Sterling's keen ears caught the critical information: a vulnerability in the Xantari's energy shields. The shields, essential for their defense, had a flaw that could be exploited. "This could be the turning point," Sterling whispered to Lee as they toiled under the watchful eyes of their captors. "We need to get this information to the Federation." Trust between the prisoners grew as Sterling shared his plan. He spoke with conviction, outlining the escape strategy and the importance of the newly discovered weakness. His leadership inspired hope among the captives, turning their despair into determination. Sterling's plan was meticulous. They would use the tools and knowledge gained from their forced labor to disable security systems and navigate through the prison's labyrinthine corridors. Each prisoner had a role, leveraging their unique skills to ensure the plan's success. As they prepared, the atmosphere shifted. Conversations became quieter, eyes sharper, movements more deliberate. The sense of purpose was palpable, driven by the possibility of freedom and the critical intelligence they carried. The night of the escape, Sterling gathered his makeshift team. "This is it," he said, his voice a low murmur that carried authority and reassurance. "We move fast, stay quiet, and stick to the plan." The team nodded, a mix of fear and determination evident in their faces. They had rehearsed the plan in whispers and gestures, each one aware of the risks but driven by the hope of liberation. The first phase went smoothly. They disabled the security systems and slipped through the initial checkpoints without raising alarms. Sterling led the way, his mind a whirlwind of calculations and contingencies. Lee followed closely, his youthful energy tempered by the gravity of the situation. They reached the critical juncture, a heavily guarded passage they had to cross. Sterling signaled for silence, and they waited for the right moment. As the guards changed shifts, the team moved with precision, neutralizing the threat with swift, silent actions. Just as they thought they were clear, the sound of approaching footsteps echoed down the corridor. Sterling's heart pounded, but he remained focused. "Stick to the plan," he whispered fiercely. The team pressed on, their resolve unwavering despite the impending danger. They reached the exit, where a final obstacle awaited, a locked gate that required a code to open. Sterling worked quickly, using the information they had gathered to bypass the lock. The gate clicked open, and they moved through, the taste of freedom almost tangible. But as they stepped into the open, an alarm blared. The Xantari had discovered their absence. "Run!" Sterling shouted, his voice cutting through the noise. They sprinted towards the rendezvous point, the sound of Xantari pursuit growing louder. They reached a shuttle, hastily prepared for their escape. Sterling took the controls, his mind focused on getting them away safely. Lee manned the weapons, ready to fend off any attackers. As the shuttle lifted off, the Xantari forces closed in. Sterling maneuvered skillfully, evading fire and pushing the shuttle to its limits. They broke through the atmosphere and into space, where the vastness offered a brief respite. "We did it," Lee breathed, a mixture of disbelief and relief in his voice. Sterling allowed himself a small smile. "We're not done yet. We need to get this information to the Federation." The cell door creaked open, and Sterling gave a subtle nod to his team. This was their moment, the culmination of days of planning and whispered coordination. They moved quickly and quietly, the practiced ease of their movements a testament to their resolve. Sterling led the way, his mind focused on each step, each turn. The Xantari stronghold was a maze of corridors and checkpoints, but his meticulous planning had prepared them for this. Lee, agile and alert, covered their rear, his youthful energy balancing Sterling's seasoned caution. They encountered their first obstacle, a patrol of Xantari guards. Using a combination of stealth and precision, they neutralized the threat without raising an alarm. Sterling's tactical brilliance shone through as he directed his team, their movements synchronized and efficient. As they navigated deeper into the stronghold, they faced numerous challenges. Security drones hovered in key passages, their sensors scanning for intruders. Sterling's team used the environment to their advantage, avoiding detection and disabling the drones with quick, calculated strikes. At one point, they reached a heavily guarded security hub. Sterling signaled for silence, and they waited in the shadows, observing the guards' routines. When the moment was right, they moved with coordinated precision, taking down the guards and securing the hub. Sterling quickly accessed the controls, bypassing the security systems and opening a path to their next objective. The journey was harrowing, each step fraught with danger. But Sterling's leadership and the resilience of his team carried them through. They reached a communications room, their gateway to contacting the United Earth Federation. Sterling worked swiftly, sending a coded message detailing the critical weakness in the Xantari's shields. With the message sent, they continued their escape. The stronghold was on high alert, the Xantari aware of their presence. Sterling's team moved with urgency, evading capture and outmaneuvering their pursuers. They reached the docking bay, where a small shuttle awaited, prepped for their getaway. Sterling took the controls, guiding the shuttle out of the stronghold. Xantari fighters pursued them, but Sterling's expertise in evasive maneuvers kept them at bay. Lee manned the weapons, fending off the attackers with precision and skill. As they broke free from the Xantari planet's atmosphere, Sterling felt a surge of relief. They were not out of danger yet, but they had made it this far. The Federation needed the information they carried, and he was determined to deliver it. Returning to Federation space, Sterling was greeted with a mix of skepticism and relief. He presented his findings, detailing the vulnerability in the Xantari shields. The initial doubts of the Federation leaders were replaced with urgency as they grasped the significance of the information. Sterling's reputation as a strategic mastermind played a crucial role in convincing the leadership. Plans for a counterattack were swiftly put into motion, with Sterling at the helm of the operation. His knowledge of the Xantari stronghold and their defenses was invaluable. Preparation for the battle was intense. The human fleet, bolstered by Sterling's insights, ready for a surprise assault on the Xantari homeworld. Sterling rallied the troops, his speeches inspiring confidence and resolve. He detailed the plan with precision, ensuring that every member of the fleet understood their role. The atmosphere on the flagship was charged with anticipation. Sterling moved through the ranks, offering words of encouragement and final instructions. His presence was a steadying force, a reminder of their purpose and the stakes of the mission. As the fleet gathered, poised for the jump to the Xantari homeworld, the weight of the moment settled over them. Sterling stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the stars ahead. This was a pivotal point, a chance to turn the tide of the war and secure humanity's future. The fleet's engines roared to life, and Sterling gave the order. They launched into hyperspace, a coordinated surge towards their target. The mission was clear: exploit the Xantari vulnerability, strike hard and fast, and reclaim the advantage. Sterling's mind raced with calculations and contingencies, every possibility considered and planned for. He knew the risks, but he also knew the potential for victory. The journey had been long and fraught with danger, but they were ready. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace, the Xantari homeworld looming before them. Sterling's heart pounded with a mix of determination and anticipation. This was their moment, the culmination of their efforts and sacrifices. The battle awaited, and they were prepared to face it head-on. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace, the Xantari homeworld looming ahead. Sterling's heart pounded as he issued the final commands for the assault. His mind raced, calculating every possibility, every contingency. All ships maintain formation. Target the shield generators, Sterling ordered, his voice calm but firm. The fleet responded with precision, the disciplined maneuvers reflecting their rigorous training. The initial stages of the battle unfolded with explosive intensity. The humans exploited the Xantari shield weakness, their coordinated strikes piercing through the once impenetrable defenses. Sterling's strategic brilliance shone as he directed the fleet, capitalizing on every advantage. "Focus fire on their command centers," Sterling commanded, his eyes scanning the tactical displays. The human ships moved with coordinated efficiency, their weapons blazing as they pressed the attack. Sterling led a critical assault team toward the planet's surface, aiming to disable the main Xantari shield generator. The landing was turbulent, the atmosphere thick with enemy fire. They disembarked swiftly, moving with practiced efficiency through the dense, alien terrain. The stronghold was heavily fortified, every corner a potential ambush. Sterling's team advanced cautiously, their movements synchronized and deliberate. They encountered stiff resistance, Xantari soldiers engaging them in fierce combat. Sterling's combat skills and tactical mind were tested, but his leadership never wavered. They reached the shield generator, a massive structure teeming with enemy forces. Sterling directed his team with precision, coordinating their assault to maximize impact. The battle was fierce, each moment a test of their resolve and ingenuity. Sterling and his team fought their way to the control room, where King Zynak awaited them. The alien leader's arrogance was palpable as he confronted Sterling, underestimating the human's tenacity and skill. "So, the human hero dares to challenge me?" Zynak sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. Sterling met his gaze unflinchingly. "Your reign of terror ends today, Zynak." The confrontation was brutal, the clash of wills and weapons a testament to their fierce rivalry. Sterling's strategic mind and combat prowess shone as he outmaneuvered Zynak, exploiting the alien king's arrogance and miscalculations. Zynak, driven back and wounded, found himself cornered. His facade of superiority crumbled as he realized the inevitability of his defeat. Desperation tinged his voice as he begged for mercy. "Spare me, Sterling. I can offer you power, riches beyond your imagination." Sterling's expression hardened. "Humanity seeks freedom, not riches." With a final, decisive strike, he incapacitated Zynak, ending the alien's tyranny. The Xantari forces, witnessing their leader's downfall, surrendered. The once mighty enemy was broken, their will to fight extinguished. Sterling's victory was both physical and moral, showcasing his superior character and tactical brilliance. The Federation initiated peace talks, the Xantari surrender marking a turning point in the war. Sterling stood before the Federation leaders, recounting the journey and the sacrifices made. His insights and leadership had not only led to victory, but also paved the way for a lasting peace. Sterling reflected on the journey, the faces of fallen comrades etched in his memory. He knew their sacrifices had not been in vain. The hope for a united future, free from the shadow of war, was now within reach. As the negotiations progressed, Sterling found a moment of solitude. He stood on the observation deck of the flagship, gazing out into the vast expanse of space. The stars stretched infinitely, a reminder of both the challenges they had overcome and the potential that lay ahead. In that quiet moment, Sterling contemplated the future. The journey had been arduous, but it had also forged bonds of unity and resilience. Humanity had faced its greatest threat and emerged stronger, ready to build a future grounded in peace and cooperation. With renewed hope and determination, Sterling turned from the window. The path ahead was clear, and he was ready to lead humanity into a new era. The sacrifices of the past would guide them, and the lessons learned would ensure a brighter future. Humanity's resilience and potential for peace were now the foundation upon which they would build their destiny.